Sunday 29th of 2024, which is the last Sunday, I come live, sponsored by Kale IT, which is a technology company, and I have described what they've done on my heading. It's a very interesting company because it is local, it's 100% local, and it is operated by one of my old schoolmates, all the way from Chimbu, and his family. On Friday, I did a live broadcast with Mr. Joseph Larry Chinao and his wife Francisca from the Gateway Hotel on the sort of work they are doing right throughout the country in installing intranet electronic libraries in all the schools. And so far since 2014, they have hooked up 60 schools right throughout the country in the last 10 years. And it is very important for this country because at this point in time, we are experiencing a lot of darkness or lawlessness in terms of law and order, and a decline in the economy. The country is going through a dark age or a dark space where nothing seems to be working. If you go to the hospitals, they're running out of drugs. If you go to the banks, they have a long queue. If you go with a complaint to the police station, it's going to cost you money anyway, and nothing won't happen. If there is murder or there's crime, there won't be any justice. So it is critically important to look at the availability of technology that we can use to improve and progress as a nation. Now, information technology is not new. And when Mr. Chinao and I were schoolboys, going back to primary school boys, going back to 1968, 1969, in the Chihuahua district in Chimbu, both of our fathers were policemen. We had access to an old library, but these were primary T schools run by the Australian government, and they did an A1 job in providing basic education based on the New South Wales curriculum at that time. And we missed out on nothing, including a very well-stocked and well-managed library set up by our headmaster, Mr. Bladwell, who's probably passed away. I haven't caught up with him, but the library is a very important part of anybody's education because it keeps a store of information that anybody can access anytime in the library. So recalling the time back to 1968, in the 60s, Australian territorial schools were well managed, and they were staffed by Australians themselves, mostly Australians, and they supervised a lot of our local teachers who were also outstanding in their contributions because of the standard that was maintained at this point in time. So, since the 60s to now, and I like to recall the time when the Americans landed an astronaut on the moon in 1969. We did not have that technology then. We did not have the technology available at that time to watch the landing on the moon on live screen, like what we do now, and watching things on the TV screen. But the Australian colonial administration had decided that they should educate us to the point of introducing advanced technology in terms of communication. And in those days, they used very high frequency radios that were transformed from the hilltops using antennas and satellites, and we were able to get the broadcast. So we were able to actually participate in hearing Captain Neil Armstrong, or astronaut Neil Armstrong, walking on the moon, on the moon for the first time, and it was quite mind blowing. It was fascinating because that was unimaginable, and of course we can follow the story with the landing of with his partner, pilot Edwin Buzz Aldrin, on the flight moon mission Apollo 11, which was the second time after they conducted the Gemini flight. But the first time that they landed on the moon was quite a historical moment for the entire world in terms of advancement in science and technology. And from that day onwards, we had transitioned from the Stone Age, where our parents were illiterate, straight into where we are now. And all of a sudden we have found ourselves with the advancement of artificial intelligence. So it's all happened in a lifetime that I can't believe. Many of us cannot understand it, and we try our best to make our children aware of it so that they can adapt and learn and master the application of modern technology. And I take my hat off to my mate Joseph Chinao and his family, his wife Francisca, and his son, who is also Shane Chinao, who's quite a very innovative mind in breaking barriers, in improvising on the technology, the communication technology available on the market, and coming up with his own technology to reduce the cost of broadband with the use of internet, with the use of intranet. So when they connect, or they install an e-library in a school, anywhere in the country, the school has complete access to everything in terms of information that normally a building or a library would not quite store up because of the capacity and of course the cost involved. So when you look at in today's terms, when you look at the cost of erecting or establishing a library, a physical library, a library space, a building, and then of course loading the books, you are looking at the library. When you look at the library building alone, it's going to cost you anything between $1 million kina and 2 million kina. And then of course you go to buy the books and everything, including modern laptops and all that, and that's going to cost you another 1 or 2 million kina in all the schools. But when you use the electronic library, it's much cheaper, and all that information is contained in the clouds and in the system, and it's also portable. If you relocate the library or the school, you can carry it in your hands and install it there again. And that in itself has done wonders for schools who have had access to these e-libraries. And we have seen over the last 10 years that two of the schools where KL technologies are based in Leh, these are Busu Secondary and Leh Secondary, have been topping the country continuously for the last 10 years. And the reason being that they have access to information. If you think that education is key, in the words of Joseph Larry Chinau, it says that information is the master key, and I think that makes a lot of sense, because without information, what do you get in education? Because education is all about information. So with the introduction of modern technology, and particularly in information technology, the e-library has become the thing of today. And I would like to thank Mr. Chinau and his family, his son Shane, for his ingenuity in reducing the cost of broadband through internet libraries, which he improvised himself. And I was listening to his father, and I was so impressed that I'd like to meet Shane as soon as I could, for being the brilliant person that he is in breaking something that most proponents have not dared into, that space at this point in time. So, and so far, the Morobe provincial government have acknowledged their contribution to education in the province, especially with the two schools coming top for the last 10 years. And the Morobe provincial government had passed a resolution to give them a contract to install e-library in 50 schools in 2025. And we applaud the Morobe provincial government and the head of the Morobe provincial government, Honorable Luther Wenge, for having taken that step. And I think he has committed up to 8 million kina to install e-library in 50 of the schools in Morobe. And additionally, also, we want to commend the National Education Department, Minister Lucas Degene, and the Morobe government, because they have allocated 50 million kina on a trial basis for the installation of electronic libraries right throughout the country. And we do not know how they will select the schools. They may do a lucky draw sort of thing to spread the benefits of the electronic library throughout the country. But this is it. This is the age of the artificial intelligence, and we see the progress on a daily basis. They've estimated that in a couple of years, China alone would have more than 100,000 flying cars, all in the airspace. So it's going to be mind-boggling, but there we go. Technology will progress itself, and all of a sudden you'll see that everybody's driving around in the sky. You'll have to avoid collisions, but then again, it's a testament to the advancement of technology. We are now resorting to robots to perform complicated things like surgery. So it is very critical and important that the authorities, and especially the government of Papua New Guinea, who have taken given education as a priority to give free education to students from elementary schools up to universities, and that's the way to go. In the early 60s, the Australians gave us 100% free education from elementary school to university. And after independence, we have resorted to the user pay policy, which was quite discouraging, because then again, people or students who would have gone to school did not go to school because of the payments or the money factor involved, and a lot of them have missed out on education. And I am proud to associate myself with my old schoolmate, Mr. Joe Larry Chinau, and his wife Francisca, and son Shane Chinau, because I'm an ardent believer in education. Without education and without information, you have a population that is ignorant. And ignorance in itself is a cardinal sin. So where there is ignorance, you have a lot of complications like what we're experiencing now in this in this country at the moment. There's a lot of things that are going wrong. We're getting from bad to worse, and we need to introduce education. And the accessibility to electronic libraries is a wonder. And I think for those of us who were brought up in the 60s, the Australian government had done a wonderful job in providing information to the communities. They carried out awareness. They drove in Land Rovers to villages, and they put up projectors and generators that educated the community on law and order and on agriculture, on anything and everything. And this is exactly what this is exactly the same thing that the electronic libraries is going to put up. If you're a farmer who wants to grow cocoa or copra or raise cows or whatever, you don't need to go to school to waste time. All you need to do is to access the internet electronic library, and everything is laid there before you. The moment you master it, you'll come out with a PhD in your particular field. And that is exactly what we are paying for. You are paying 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 to send your kids to the best schools. What are you sending to school for? To obtain information. And that information is now laid to you in the form of a mobile phone, in the form of an Android phone or a laptop. And you can access it right here. And I think it's a good thing that banks have now pushed in the direction that we go cashless and that you pay for everything on your mobile phone. It enhances access to information. An informed person is much better off and more powerful than an ignorant person. So on this note, I want to acknowledge Kyle Information Technology for having pioneered the introduction of electronic libraries right throughout the country. And the government has finally come to notice the contribution to the country, and have allocated its first 50 million kina to trial out schools right across the country. And I think in the last few months, the Prime Minister had appeared at the University of Papua New Guinea and made a commitment to introduce electronic library at the University of Papua New Guinea, and that is quite commendable, because the nation we access the books and papers, we're going to have a paperless education system where you just click on the button and all the information is displayed before you, and you click on the button and the information just closes up and it's stored there for you. You can always go and click on the button and access the information all the time. Now it's a bit sad that we are not able to afford this. We are not able to afford the electronic library for all the 5,000 schools and colleges in this country. But if the government and the education department can sit down and crunch the numbers properly, I think it would be very useful to introduce or to support the free education system with the use of electronic libraries using intranet. Intranet is a closed circuit where you don't pay for the cost of data, which means that you don't need to use a SIM card or anything. You can just switch on, and it's enclosed from within a specific area it can address a certain group, like the university community or any college community or a school. You can just click on, and there you have access to information. So broadband is an area that the government is now going to look at, to making sure that people have access to information. And information is the key thing that changes society. When we went to school earlier, we were all taught about, we were all given history lessons in Greek philosophers. Why? Because they were knowledgeable and they had information. And we all wanted to be like Socrates. We all wanted to be like them because they were wise men who had a store of information. And now we have it all. We have access to the electronic library, which got everything from surgery to law, science, agriculture. You can go to the farmers and give them an electronic library program that tells them how to grow a certain crop or raise domesticated animals and process them for marketing. Everything is in that tool, and it's a very handy tool. And I would like to commend the government so far for having adapted that policy or adapted that program. And if we can provide an electronic library to all schools within the next 10 years, this country will take a quantum leap, because everybody will know what they're supposed to do in the community. They will educate themselves. A man who educates himself is much better than the man who's educated by a teacher. So with that, I would like to thank all my followers and supporters right throughout the country who are watching me today. I repeat, I've done a earlier video on Friday with Mr. Joel Larry Chinao and his wife Francisca from the Ella Beach Hotel. And this Sunday, I have come on live stream again to emphasize on the importance of electronic libraries. From my last video, I got some good response from my province in Kerawagi who know me. And they have, the Kerawagi High School staff have requested further information on how to improve or access the electronic library in Kerawagi High School. And I think Chimbu has a particular tendency of paying attention to education, because we have pioneered in many areas of education in terms of building schools and high schools. For those who don't know me, I was deputy premier of the Simbu provincial government from 1988 to 1993, and in my time, we were the first to do away with school fees. We wanted to give everybody, we wanted to give all the children a head start into literacy and understanding numeracy. So we introduced a free education policy back in 1991. And that's been adopted by other provincial governments, and finally the national government has adopted it. So it is, again, I am delighted because of somebody who's applied appropriate technology to bring information to the people, which is going to improve society in general. And I would encourage headmasters and community groups from all the schools and primary schools, high schools and secondary schools, universities and colleges, to look into the future of hooking up or installing electronic libraries for the convenience of everybody concerned, including teachers and students as well. So with that, I wish you Happy New Year coming ahead, since it's 29 today, and we'll be having we'll be going to the 1st of January on Wednesday, 1st of January 2025 on Wednesday. With that, I thank you all for watching me and following me today. And let's go electronic library with Kyle Information Technology. Thank you for watching me.